Hello, powerful stuffers, and welcome to this week's episode of Powerful Stuff. You guys, I feel like it's been ages since we've connected. IRL last week, I gave you guys a little social anxiety meditation release, but we didn't really go into a full talk episode, if you will. And this episode is, as you guessed it, super, super powerful because we are talking about the parallels between breathing through triggers and breathing through contractions, or as they say in the hypnobirthing world, surges, which I will get into. So even if you're not pregnant, such as myself, I am at 7 months, 30 weeks. Let's fucking go. The belly is progressing powerfully. I'm feeling some kicks from the little man. But even if you're not pregnant, this episode is all about reframing pain and triggers and how we can use it to work for us, work through us to birth something new. And I'll be drawing a lot of birth metaphors because your girl loves a good metaphor. So that's what we'll be diving into today. If you feel like you've been triggered a lot lately and you're like, why me? Why does this always happen? Or you're just ready to step into that next version of yourself, which we always get fucking tested right before we step into the next version of ourselves. But if you're ready to step into that next version of yourself, you want to do so with grace, ease. You don't want to kind of iron or white knuckle your way through it, or whatever the expression is, iron fist, white knuckle, what is it? All of that's to say you've come to the right place. And by the end of the episode, you are going to be feeling expansive. You're going to be like, I can't wait for the triggers to come. Bring it on. I'm excited to breathe through it and just like, alchemize that pain, right? Everything in life is how we perceive it, how we perceive and reframe things to train our brain with the stories we tell ourselves. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So before we dive in, just wanted to give you guys a little life update. My husband Spence and I moved from Venice after, I've been there since 2017. It's 2025. That's crazy. That's 8 years. Pew, pew, pew. Moving to Santa Monica Ocean Park. We live in a beautiful high rise right on the beach. We can see the mountains from one bedroom, the snow-capped mountains, and then we can also see the ocean and the sunset from another bedroom. So we've been waking up with the sunrise, seeing the sunset, great for the circadian rhythm. And what is crazy is because recently in my ideal scenes over the past few years, one of my manifestations have been seeing the mountains and the sea from my house. And I always thought that this was a manifestation for like years from now, when we live in like Northern California or whatever it might be. But I was like, holy shit, we've gotten to manifest it now. The manifestations are coming in unexpected ways. And I already have my new local coffee shop, which I've been loving. And they have pistachio milk lattes. And another way to get close to my heart as a coffee shop, if any coffee shop owners are listening, is not upcharging for the alternative milk. They charge pistachio milk, almond milk, oat milk. They charge it the same as whole milk. And to me, that's just a big fat yes. You have my business. I'm listening. I will be going back to your coffee shop every day. So with that being said, those have been the updates. That we went to Tony Robbins, then we moved the week after that. Spencer's mom came to help us move. And then last weekend we were getting settled in. This weekend I had the wedding of my dear college roommate who I shared a bunk bed with freshman year. And we are cranking along in the upgrade. In the upgrade, we are in week 6 going into week 7. So after we've done the cycle of transformation, breathing through triggers, to owning our story, to the power of tactical manifestation. And that's really cool. And there's been so many great things happening with the upgrade that I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to make a masterclass in December, a 3-day masterclass for people who have wanted to do the upgrade, but maybe they couldn't afford it. It wasn't the right time. They couldn't invest that much time in it because it's 12 sessions. So it's going to be a 3-day 90-minute per day session, super accessible. So if you've ever wanted to do the upgrade, but it just hasn't been the right time or circumstance for whatever reason, stay tuned for that. It'll be right before I go on mat leave and the energy will be potent. Oh yeah, and the other update, Spencer and I celebrated our 2-year anniversary. We celebrated it on Tuesday. We went for coffee and an ocean dip in the morning. In the afternoon, we did a picnic hike. Then we went to Cafe Gratitude and got their cast iron cookie with pistachio ice cream. Gosh, we've been talking about pistachios a lot today. It's crazy. Pistachios are in the air. And we got pedicures, and then we kind of recapped the last 2 years and what we've learned and did an opening ceremonies for a new apartment. So if you're ever moving, I highly recommend doing a closing ceremonies at your last place, what you learned, how you're grateful for it, and then an opening ceremonies at your next place, like how you want to show up in this place, what it's bringing to you, how you're ready to also transform, not just in apartment or in living space, but also in life, you guys. So, with that being said, let's talk about contractions, expansions, and everything in between. So, I'll first start talking about it with the birth analogy, and then we'll go into the personal development, and we'll just weave it all together, and then we'll do a little medi as always. But yeah, so I'm reading about hypnobirthing, and obviously I haven't given labor yet, so I am telling you guys all of this just based on what I've read, doulas I've talked to, other moms, birth stories that I've listened to. This is in no way, shape, or form coming from immediate firsthand experience of my own birth. So I might have to do a part 2 after I give birth and be like, you guys, I have more to share, or or I was totally in left field. Who knows? But based on all the hypnobirthing stuff that I've read so far, and just so you know, hypnobirthing is kind of like a technique of using visualization, meditation, breathing to reframe the pain of childbirth, to view it as something that's not feared, but rather like allowed, enhanced, celebrated, welcomed through all of these techniques of mind over matter. So, kind of like all of the meditations, visualizations you'd be doing for yourself, anyways, for, you know, just mindfulness and good mindset. It's kind of just applying it specifically to the birthing realm of not not being afraid of pain. So the whole premise of hypnobirthing is that, you know, when we think about birth, you know, a lot of narratives we might have been sold in Hollywood or in society is that it can be scary, especially if you don't get pain medication. By the way, this is all, you know, no birth experience is wrong. Every birth experience is exactly like, you know, meant to fulfill the intention, the path, the way that it was meant to unfold for that family, and each birth is different. So, but the premise of hypnobirthing, I like to just say this because, yes, every birth is so powerful and wonderful, regardless of whichever way you choose to do it for your circumstances. So, but hypnobirthing, you know, they talk about maybe all of these narratives that we've been fed in the past, or all these scary birth stories that make us fear birth. They make us fear the pain. They make us fear the contractions. So then what do? We anticipate with fear. We tense up. When you're fearing something, you're tense, you're future tripping. And so when the contractions do hit, you tense, you squeeze, you fight, you resist, right? Which makes it harder. You may be counting down the hours, the minutes until it's over, which could make it feel like it's going even longer, or make it even more painful. It's like all of this contraction actually like makes you feel stuck, and then it can actually exacerbate the birthing process and make it much longer, because you're fighting your body instead of working with it, right? And it's kind of like the mind over matter thing. And this is why I find it so fascinating, because not only as a leadership coach and someone who's really interested in spirituality, but also as a 25-time marathon runner and an Ironman finisher after I'd only done 1 month of training on a road bike, and picked the hilliest Ironman in the world to do as my first and only Ironman. I am fascinated by reframing pain and pushing my limits. The Ironman motto, I think, is something around limits. I was going to be really profound, and then I had a total brain fart. But it's like anything is possible. I think that's it. It's just anything is possible. And so when I was doing the Ironman, I remember, and the bike portion, which is 112 miles, y'all, the bike portion, I was going up the hill. No one had taught me to put my bike on the lowest gear when I was going up the hill. So I put it on the highest gear because, like, whenever I was at Soul Cycle or Flywheel, they'd always be like, turn your gear up. We're going up a hill. I didn't realize it was to simulate the hill, uh, not that that's what you're supposed to do on an actual bike. And so, yeah, everyone was passing me on the bike. My thighs were on fire. And I just kind of like tapped into this internal place where I would sing this funny chant to myself where I'd be like, good thing I like hills. Good thing I like hills, and just like envisioning my future husband. I was single at the time, like cheering me on with my kids. One day when I do another Ironman, and just like I was like locked in, and I'm like, there's no way I'm not finishing this Ironman, because I also had to make it through the bike portion in a certain amount of time, or else it would get cut off, or I would be disqualified. Anyways, so then I ended up doing, yeah, getting through the bike portion and doing a full fucking marathon after that. I finished the Ironman in 14 hours. I just remember bawling as soon as I turned and saw that Ironman finish line. My dad was there cheering me on, and I just cried, and yeah, it was insane. It was one of the most euphoric feelings. So I'm kind of, all of that to say, guys, I'm, having fun training for the birth, kind of like it is an endurance event, because I haven't done an endurance event in a while. So I've been doing a lot of physical stuff, and I've been doing a lot of hypnobirthing stuff. Not just for the one day of birth, which is very exciting because it's the day that I get to meet my son, who's been growing in me and hanging out with me this whole time, but I get to meet him face to face, but also like to help myself with postpartum recovery and to strengthen my mindset leading up to birth, and postpartum, right? It's all a net positive because, my mom, I love her, bless her. Shout out, Mom, if you're listening. But she's like, why are you putting all this training into the birth? It's just one day. Women do it every day. And I'm like, I know, but it's like fun. I'm enjoying it. Um, and it's only going to help with recovery, and it's only going to help with mindset. So like, why not, why not do it if it's like overall a net positive for me, and it's something that I'm enjoying doing and learning about, and it's a curious time of my life. So not everyone will be as intense as me in their birth prep, but I've been having fun doing it, and it's been one of my cups of teas lately, amongst peppermint, which also, now that I'm saying it, I'm reminded that I did want to order some rooibos. Forgot that on our Instacart order, but no regrets. Anyway, so what they're teaching you in hypnobirthing, first and foremost, is not to refer to contractions as contractions. Refer to them as surges, right? A contraction implies like a tightening, a squeezing, a resisting, right? And words cast spells. So rather than a contraction and that like giving you a physiological sense of like contracting up, they say it's a surge. It's like a wave. You're feeling the pain come in and reframing it. It's something that's allowing you to meet your baby. You're getting one step closer to meet your baby. It's productive pain. One of the affirmations that they say that I love is, this pain can't be stronger than me because this pain is me, right? And so when we think about the triggers or the thing that tests us in life, it's like the same idea of the universe doesn't give us anything we can't handle. And so it's like not resisting or fearing it, because it actually comes from within you. It's meant to be a teacher. It's meant to help you expand and grow and open your birth canal, and help you meet your baby, just as any trigger, however you choose to use it, is something that can help you expand and grow and birth that next version of yourself. So that's the first thing, is like not calling it a contraction. It's a surge. And when you think of that with a surge, with a trigger, when you think of that heat you get, or that knife in your heart when someone fucking triggers you and you're like, that fucking bitch, or whatever you might say in your head, right? It's like, ooh, I'm activated. Like, how can I use this energy to actually expand and grow? And I'm acknowledging the sensations in my body, right? I might feel hot. I might feel like my heart is pounding. I might feel like I need to go for a run. I'm not denying like the emotion that's surging through me, but I'm going to work with it. What is this bringing up in me? What is it showing me that I still need to heal, that I need to talk about, that I need to release from my body? So that's the first thing, right? Is reframing the pain from a contraction to a surge. And then if you think about a surge, right? instead of a contraction. The second thing is not tensing up, but actually breathing with it with curiosity. Like I can do anything. Like the one of the other birthing affirmations is I can do anything for a minute, right? I can breathe through anything that is thrown my way. This too shall pass, whether it is a surge or whether it is a trigger. And then having that curiosity with the surge, it's like, okay, this is bringing me closer to meeting my baby. With the trigger, it's like, okay, this is bringing me closer to birthing that next version of myself, of putting in the aligned actions of the me that I say that I'm ready to become. So how can I be curious? How can I show up differently? How can I lean into it and not tense up, right? Because the more I tense up, or I resist it, or I try to avoid it, like if you're trying to avoid a contraction or whatever, the more I try to avoid it and a trigger, it's going to keep happening, right? It's going to keep happening. Triggers keep happening. The cycle keeps repeating itself until you break it. So the way we actually get through contractions sooner and the surges and help our baby down the birth canal and progress sooner is breathing with it. They say, like, there's certain breathing techniques, but also breathing deep down, breathing your baby down, like not raising your voice like a high pitched fearful scream, but like moving around, trying different postures, not just laying on your back, right? And 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 releasing oxytocin, so doing things with your birth partner, like, which is the same with triggers of like asking for help. In birthing, it's like your birth partner, if you're able to have one with you, whether it's a doula, your life partner, a family friend, they're like, you're rocking on them, they're helping you get in different positions, they're maybe stroking your back, or helping you get in the shower to have some warm water on you, or they're eye gazing with you to stay connected with you, they're breathing like you so you feel connected with them. So it's not being afraid to ask for help and to know that you're not alone. And similarly in triggers, it's like breathing with it first and foremost, welcoming it in, noticing the sensation in your body, not resisting it. And then, like, that asking for help or insight might be like a good confiding in a good friend. Like, how am I getting in the way of myself? Or, ooh, this is really painful. Can I have like some, like, I need a little hype up or encouragement, feeling a little low about the situation right now, and not having to go at it alone, but having that outside perspective. So you're not in your mind's own echo chamber, and that other people are there to help see you win. They're there to help you succeed as well. So those are a few of the other things. And then one of the other things that I love about the hypnobirthing stuff is that, I mean, it's completely about surrender and not trying to control, right? You show up for game day, like having done your best, like having prepared, and then you kind of have to let go and let God. And the more you try to control, like the more unhappy you'll be with like the expectations, if it does or doesn't go your way, right? You visualize, similar to like life, self-development, visualize how you want to feel, what that dream birth will look like, and then release if it goes exactly according to plan. And maybe the most important thing is how you want to feel on the other side. I want to feel empowered. I want to feel connected to my baby. I want to feel like I've done everything I could. And then even if I end up needing an intervention, knock on wood, or something, happens where I need to pivot and release that plan, I'm able to do so. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to still feel empowered. I'm not going to still feel connected to my baby. So then it allows like the wiggle room of life to do its thing, and you to, have your baby in the way that you're meant to, without you kind of trying to hold on to a plan that might not be the best fit anymore, or it just simply doesn't happen. And the way that your labor will now best progress is if you release that and move forward with like where life is taking you and whatever direction that might be. And similar to a trigger, it's like you can't control other people's response to what you say or how you show up, or life's turns of events. However, you can act in your own integrity. This is how I'm choosing to show up. I can't control this other person's reaction or what happens after I do this, but I know I'm showing up as my highest self, and that's enough. And I'm proud of myself. And the KPI here is my input, right? The inputs that I've done, for example, with the birth prep, the inputs that I've done and the work on myself and breaking the cycle with this trigger. And then finally, guys, or a few last things. I know there's so many parallels, and then I'll break it down because I've just been like, da, 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 just chatting your old ear off. So the other thing I was going to say is, with the birth as well, it's like, yeah, complete surrender. The more you relax into it, the sooner it comes. And also just the more you'll enjoy the process, because it's like, of course, we all want to meet our baby. And what a doula said to me, which was really beautiful, is like all of the sensations we feel in birth, it's kind of like our old self dying and our new self being born, right? If whether you're a first time mom and it's like letting go of maidenhood into motherhood, or a second or third time mom, right? I've heard that even from mom of multiple kids, like each time you kind of release an old version of yourself and birth a new one. So it's enjoying and savoring and honoring the process too, and not just necessarily rushing through it to get to the birth, but giving that time to all past versions of yourself, to honor them, to love them, to release them as they are shed in your birthing process. And then the last thing that some people have talked about in the hypnobirthing space, and I'm not 100% familiar with this because I haven't done it myself. So just take this part with a grain of salt as we go down this analogy. But what I have heard from some doulas and stuff is when you approach the ring of fire, which is where the baby's head begins to crown, and it allegedly is this burning sensation, and it's really, really painful. Some women have said, but it's actually a good thing because you're about to meet your baby. So some women will be like, I can't go on, like something's horribly wrong, and like they call this, like, yeah, the transition. And that's actually doulas and midwives say like they love this part actually because they know that that means the woman's really close. So kind of like that Florence and the Machine quote in Shake It Out, or it's always darkest before the dawn, right? It's like right when you feel like you're at your wit's end, you can't go any further. That's actually when you're about to have that breakthrough. So if you feel like just bombarded with triggers and you're like, why me? Why is this always happening? This is so painful. It's like, actually, that's the ring of fire. That's a ring of fire, baby. Bring it on. Bring on the heat. And that's when like things are about to shift. You're about to have the breakthrough. So keep breathing through it. Don't tense up. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Like, life is happening. The universe is happening. And by the time you get to that phase, they say you can experience like the fetal ejection reflex, which your body will just like push the baby out. And so it's like to give in to the surrender to the wisdom of your body, and to not necessarily do what they call like the purple pushing in that you might have seen in like movies where it's like you're like tense and you're like pushing the baby out in a really aggressive way, but just kind of like they talk about breathing the baby down and out, and like having some element of push but also some element of ease, which then allows you to kind of more you know move through it with a little bit more flexibility. It actually gives like your perineum time to stretch, so hopefully it doesn't tear or doesn't tear as much. And so it's this idea of not needing to like iron fist your way through it, but finding that strength and the soft power, which we've talked about many times on Powerful Stuff. So TLDR, guys, some of the similarities when you're and these are all things that I'm thinking about, right? I'm telling you to remind myself, not just for going into birth, but also for the triggers that I've been facing recently. It's like a reminder to me to take my own medicina and to like breathe through it, and to not avoid it, and to not get like why me energy, but like, okay, this is great labor prep for the for the surges, bring it on. Like these triggers, I had a bunch of triggers this week that were reminding me to breathe with it, to allow space, to know that it is happening for me. And I was like, okay, this has to be the Powerful Stuff episode this week, because I feel like I always get the download lesson in my own life, and then I have to share it with y'all. Okay, so the parallels, reframing the pain. How What is like the old negative or like pain story that you're telling yourself about this trigger? Like, this always happens to me. I'm not enough. Whatever it is, like, and how does that keep you in contraction? Like, how does that keep you stuck in a cycle of resistance? Um, similarly, as we were talking with birth, calling it a contraction or viewing it as this like painful thing to avoid at all costs, making you fearful, that's going to make you tense up. It's going to make the labor take a lot longer versus like riding the wave, riding the surge. If you even think about it, speaking of waves, like if you're fighting a wave in the ocean, it's going to slam you down every time versus like, I'm going to ride it. I'm going to let it carry me forward. I'm going to work with the wave, right? Then the wave pushes you to shore. How beautiful is that? So the second thing is like, how is this teaching me? Like, what are my affirmations around this? How is this helping me grow? How is this helping me birth my next version of self? And what is the new choice I can make to stay open? What is the new choice I can make to surrender? How will that feel in my body? Can I tap into that expansive feeling right now? And can I breathe into that expansive feeling right now? The third thing is, knowing that right when it's the most painful is actually when the biggest breakthrough is coming. So to be your own cheerleader, pipe yourself up, uh, pump yourself up, knowing that you've got this and that it's always darkest before the dawn. And also, like we were saying with the birth partner, not being afraid to ask for help, being like, relying on your birth doula of your new self, right? Of like, how can I be of vulnerable and open to somebody that does know me and see me in my power, and tell them like, this is what I'm working through and how can they help me step into that. And then giving yourself compassion and grace the whole time, right? Knowing that we're just doing the best we can with what we have, and to surrender, and this whole thing of surrendering. So having the vision of how you want it to go, then dropping expectation and just holding on to the feeling of how you want it to go, not getting too attached to it needing to go a certain way. And this is definitely something that I'm reminding myself of for the birth, because I know, everyone said, let go and let God. Like, I have my vision and I know how I want to feel and I'm preparing for it. And I'm just remaining open, and I'm not going to start getting in a bad mood or spiraling if like different things need to happen when I do go into labor. And then just like enjoying, celebrating, being proud of yourself, just like after the birth, like going slow, being gentle, having that sacred time with this new version of yourself, with your baby, with your family. After the trigger, it's like taking time. It's like we're a new baby in a way, like a hermit crab switching shells naked, as we get to our next big shell. So being gentle, being compassionate with yourself, celebrating yourself for all the incredible work that you've already done for this trigger. And so just knowing when the trigger comes up, not to tense up, but to be like, ooh, surge is coming. I can do anything for a minute, right? This pain can't be stronger than me because it is me. The universe isn't giving me anything I don't know how to handle. How is this helping me along in my soul's evolution? And that is the powerful stuff, you guys. Okay, so we'll just close out with a little meditation. So just taking a deep breath in, exhale it out, another breath in, exhale, let it go, and third and deepest, exhale, sigh it out. And just noticing the most recent trigger that's come up for you, or maybe it's still present. And just go ahead and breathe into where you feel it in your body. And wherever you feel it, I want you to go ahead and kind of feel that initial tightening. Maybe you even hunch your back over, you squeeze your face like you've just had a sour lemon. Tighten with it, tighten with it, tighten with it. You're just saying, I'm not resisting you, I'm embodying you, I'm dialing you up. And then expand it, breathe into its heart, saying, I'm not afraid to feel you fully. I'm not afraid to feel you fully. I completely allow you. Breathing into it, even if it feels uncomfortable, taking a deep breath. And as you breathe into it, feel your breath like invisible hands starting to expand it, growing it, allowing it to soften out. allowing yourself to feel it fully, and then just asking the trigger, how are you here to help me grow? How are you here to help me birth this next version of myself? Trusting whatever the trigger says. And then thanking the trigger, letting it know that I've got us. Thank you for coming here to help me grow. And as you kind of feel the heat of the trigger, imagine moving or even placing your hand on that part of the body where you feel it. Moving your hand in a circular motion as if you're like stirring a little cauldron right there, making it hot, making it warm. Alchemizing the trigger, transforming it into fuel for your growth as you breathe with it. And as you move your hand away, feeling the heat go through all of your veins from your toes to your nose, alchemizing you into your highest self, and just seeing a vision of you on the other side of this trigger, this new version that's been birthed, that's even more truly you. Noticing the vitality in your aura. And as you see this version of you, thanking this version of you for choosing to breathe through the discomfort. And asking them, what is the new choice that we're ready to make to alchemize this trigger once and for all? What is the new choice we're ready to make? And then thanking and claiming that choice. And then what is the belief underneath that choice? Is it I am enough, I am lovable, I've got this? That belief in yourself that gives you that oomph, that fight to continue to take one step in front of the other. Whatever it is, whatever that affirmation is, claim it out loud. Say it out loud to yourself. Feel it reverberate in your ears. And then as you feel it reverberate, feeling it soften every part of your body, your feet, your shins, your knees, your hips, your navel, your heart, your shoulders, your fingers, your head, your whole body, just allowing the surge to move through you, allowing this new version of you to be birthed, more true and powerful than ever. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then one more breath. And exhale to return to the space, coming back into your body. Wow, guys. So powerful. I feel your shift. You're so powerful. You've stayed till the end. And you've done the work. You've done the magic. Guys, I'm going to reveal my TikTok guilty pleasure, because apparently there's this trend on TikTok that's like all about group 7. Like if you made it till the end or like the 7th video, they're like, you're group 7. It's like someone who stays committed to the end. So I was going to be like, you guys are so group 7. So little Gen Z pop culture, TikTok culture for you. So thanks group 7 for making it to the end of powerful stuff in the beginning of your new life on the other side of this trigger and surge. Let me know what shifted for you, what's come up. I want to hear it all. Stay tuned for that masterclass early December. Tell your friends, tell your family, and I will see you next week for more powerful stuff. Hey, you. Thank you for coming on this powerful journey with me. I hope it was as powerful for you as it was for me. And if it was, it would mean the world to me if you rate, review,
and subscribe to Powerful Stuff so I can keep bringing you the goods. We can keep going on this transformative journey together. And if there's powerful stuff that you want to share with me, with the Powerful Stuff community, tag us on Instagram at That's Powerful Stuff or The Meredith Baker. And I look forward to seeing you next week for more powerful stuff.